Welcome to Igniting Change, the podcast where we explore innovation, industry trends, and how tech for good is solving the world's biggest challenges. Let's get into it.
Ladies, did you want to introduce yourselves and tell us who you are and who you're representing today?
Yeah, so I'm Olivia and I'm a co-founder of Cubbi.
And I'm Tanyka. I'm also a co-founder of Cubbi and Olivia's sister. And Cubbi is the UK's first parental leave discount platform for new and expecting parents.
I love that. So tell us, how did Cubbi come about? Because it's quite rare that you hear of two sisters founding a company together.
Yeah, absolutely. So I came up with the idea when my firstborn was 8 weeks old. So I hate to say this, but my firstborn was really a difficult baby. So he was one of those babies that's up every hour at night. He would cry what felt like 23 hours a day. I'd always be the mum in the coffee shop, bouncing the baby, and everyone else is just sitting down. So I was really going through it. I was in the trenches. And there was this one day, and I was walking into my favorite coffee shop, and there was a massive queue, and when everything's just going wrong, the doors slammed in front of me, and then I've ended up buying my coffee, and it was £5, and I was like, this is a significant proportion of my budget at the moment. And I thought, I've been coming here for a decade, I deserve a free coffee, and that's kind of where it started. And I was like, why does student discount not exist in the same way it does, for students or NHS? And I remember I called Tanyka. I was on the pavement outside the coffee shop, and I called her and I was like, why is this not a thing? I think we both kind of were wait, is this not a thing? We frantically Googled and were searching, and it just didn't exist. So we were just we have to do it. So I think, yeah, that's kind of the moment that we had it. But I think Tanyka's role as well, which she'll expand on, was the real kind of driver that made us actually do it.
So, okay. So Olivia, you're on maternity leave. You've got, an 8-week-old baby. It can be a really stressful time in anyone's life. But, when things aren't going great and there are challenges, it's immense. But what were you doing a different job? What were you doing when you got this phone call?
Yeah, I mean, I was in a very different place to Olivia. I don't have any children. I had just moved to a new job and was living on my own in London, very different mindset, but almost also quite similar in terms of big transition in my life. I just started a new job at a bank that invested in startups and small businesses in the UK, and that experience just exposed me to a lot of people's stories of starting businesses and growing businesses. And it's something that Olivia and I have always been interested in. We've always thought of business ideas and done the research and made the logos and written a business plan, but never pressed go on it. And I think it's because you always think, oh, these people that start businesses are smarter than me, have more money than me, and so I had just had that realization that actually all you need is just to do it. And so Olivia came to me with this great idea, and I was like, this needs to be done. And we always let these good ideas go. And so I kind of had that drive at that moment to be we should go do this right now.
Yeah. So talk us through. You were okay, this is it. So you'd always wanted to do something together. You'd obviously been inspired by this new job and actually seeing how investment is made and received. And, I'm guessing you're inspired by that. But then what next? So what was the next step? How did you bring something to fruition?
Yeah. So I think both Olivia and I are very sort of risk averse. And they always say female founders are often quite risk averse. And so we didn't want to, I didn't feel comfortable just throwing lots of money to create a platform or pay other people to figure out how to do this for us. So we spent probably 3 or 4 months writing a business plan and figuring out exactly how we were going to do it. And at the same time, I started playing around with kind of no-code app builders, just trying to build a first platform ourselves. And I think the logic was that if we can just launch something very basic ourselves and see if people want to use it, then we can figure out how to then grow it from there. But we didn't want to, just invest loads of money into something really kind of fancy and then it flops. So we kind of just did it ourselves, the very, very first early stage ourselves.
Right. Hold up. So you're not a developer by trade, like you've never
No.
built an app before. So you went away and you were using these like no code, low code
Yeah.
tools to build your own app essentially.
Yeah. And it was, I won't lie, it was the most frustrating 6 months of my life. And there were points that Olivia kind of like, because Olivia obviously had no idea about how difficult it is to do that. She'd come back and be like, and the logo is off center to 1 centimeter to the right. And I would honestly want to throw my laptop at the wall. Like it was
I
sending me
think this
over
is
the
how the
edge.
three-sided people are going to feel about me as well. So apologies. And
Not at all. This is really so. Okay, what did you so using these tools? Because that's a good. Like, I mean, you just like mentioned. Oh, so I just took the tools and learned to do it myself in 6 months. Like, it's so cash and so easy to
Yeah.
do. That is not an easy thing to do. So, what did you learn in that process? Like, what what?
Yeah. I mean, the first probably 2 months was the hardest in terms of I tried probably 15 different tools to find one that could do the things I wanted it to do, but I could also control it. Because there's a lot of like low code apps that are way too advanced for me. And then there's a lot of no code apps that don't do any of the things you need it to do. So it took a long time of testing like lots of different platforms to find one that works. And then once I found one that I could, bodge something together with, it was mainly just some kind of process where people could upload an image, register, upload an image that we could then manually verify, and then just a literal list of brands with the links out to them. It was not at all glamorous, but it did the job of like testing the concept.
So you'd created that. So then you put that out for testing. You put that out into the wild. And what did you learn?
Well, Olivia can answer this, I think.
so we put it out into the world, and within about 2 weeks, I think we posted this video of me, and it was just a video of me holding my son, just explaining that kind of experience that I told you about, building this platform for other mums or dads like me. And it just went off, like it just went crazy. And we got thousands and thousands of downloads in that first month. And we were like, my goodness, this, like, with the app was great. Tanika did a fantastic job, but it was just not at the scale. And we
Yeah.
were like, the app is going to break. And furthermore, like we built it we'd used loads of like tools which were like kind of expensive for scale. So we just knew we had to like move away from that and build our own app. So that kind of just launching it into the world, and the validation we got, like some woman was like, I'm gonna have more babies now, and everyone was just the messages we got were so emotionally invested in us, and our community that we've built is so emotionally invested in what we're building because they just resonate with the experience. So we were like, look, it's go time because we've launched it. People are like, they want this. We have to now like put a bit of money behind it and invest in someone to build us our proper app that's gonna work and gonna, serve these people who want us.
And so you've got this yeah, okay, let's say like a working MVP. Okay, the point in which you realize, okay, we need something stronger, we need stronger foundations here. You then what was your next step? Did you go to an agency? Did you go to a freelancer? Like, how? Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so we just started looking at sort of freelancers, and as I say, the impact that we had at that time was it was so far reaching. Like this woman approached me and she sent us an email and she said, I've seen what you're doing. I run a small freelance company and we can help you if you need anything done with your app. And that's actually been like the theme of what we're doing. We always get like UI designers or like people saying, is there anything I can do to help? Like I want to support this, because people just believe in it. So this woman reached out and her message was just so like, she got it. And I was like, I spoke to her and I was like, we have to just go with these people because, a lot of people, what we've learned through the kind of investment process, and you probably see it on the Den as well. Some people, I don't want to say men, some men don't necessarily understand what we're building, and it's not all men by any means, but in the investment world, it's definitely a boys' club, just to see people who need it and people who don't get it, and we're trying to bring that together.
Which is like utterly amazing. And so full transparency, had 3 kids. You know, I took very different maternity leave, like with each of the kids. And it's a really fucking hard like time in
Yeah.
anyone's life, either whether you're a mum or a dad. It doesn't matter. Like, it can be a challenging time, and I
Absolutely.
do think there's an element of it. It is very hard to understand if you haven't been through that. I think
100%.
naturally women may understand a little bit more. I think there's a bit more empathy on that side and time and patience to understand. I think there's a difference between people that just don't get it or don't take the time to understand like that period. Life adjustment maybe is what I would call it.
So that for me, that moment in my life was just so life changing. Like there's the physical, there's the emotional, and then when you throw in the financial of like feeling guilty if I need to buy a pair of jeans, feeling guilty if I need to buy a coffee or I want to buy coffee, all these things, they're just adding extra stress on a time when you should be enjoying. Like it's such a special moment. And so many people I know, they're like, oh, blink and you'll miss it. Like this is a special time, enjoy it. But how can you do that when you're like, as I say, in the trenches? And I really hate to use that term, but a lot of people are in the trenches when they've just had a baby. And, you know, that's kind of a place I found myself in. So, yeah, this is something that I felt like this would have made me, if I felt a bit seen by, you know, my favorite brands or my favorite coffee shop, just, you know, a free coffee or a little discount off a pair of jeans. It just is that thing that just brightens up your day a little. It's not going to solve all the issues, but it just uplifts a little bit. And that's what we're trying to do.
And you know what? And we've all had this, or I hope everyone listening and you guys have experienced something where, you know, like a random act of kindness.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
the moment that you walked into that coffee shop and someone shut that door, the door slammed in front of you, and you're like, and if you've got a push chair or you're carrying a baby or you're carrying bags, it doesn't matter if like it's just a lot. But I have had random acts of kindness, and it makes you stop in your tracks and just take that moment in. And I don't know, I can't speak for anyone else, but certainly I then feel this overwhelming sense of gratitude and thanks to anyone that has taken the time to do that. I get it, random. I mean, it's like if you receive like a handwritten piece of mail. No one ever writes that,
Exactly.
these are
It's kind of the other side of it, because a lot of people think, oh, well, it's charity. Why would they give you a free coffee? Why would they give you a discount on jeans? Actually, we're helping brands connect with you at the pivotal moment in your life.
Yeah.
Like if you can act new parents at that moment when they're feeling lost, confused, like their life has changed, and you can brighten their day or brighten, you know, make them feel better, you've got a customer for life. And one of the stats we always quote is that mums control 85% of the household budget. Just a caveat, dads are welcome on our platform too, but mums control 85% of the household budget. We're giving brands direct access to verified, real new parents, particularly mum. Yeah, that's what I'd say on that.
So, right, you went out. So, just stepping back a bit. So, you had the working MVP out there. You then have been fortunate enough to work with a freelancer or freelancers to help get the product into a stronger place. But I'm going to make assumptions here because I heard you used the word dragon here, which makes me want to say there was a dragon's den appearance. Da da da. But like, how do you get from having like a working product or like out there to Dragon's Den? Like, talk to us a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So we launched our product in February. And then a few months later, I got pregnant again. Bearing in mind, I told you all the challenges I had first time. I got pregnant again, manifesting a chill baby, which I have got, thank God. And I was about 6 months pregnant when I got an email from someone from Dragon's Den. And I thought it was spam because I get so much spam email, and I just ignored it. And they emailed a further 3 times. And I was like, okay. The second time I was like, let me check it. But I was so busy, I hadn't checked it yet. And by the 4th time, I was like, okay, let me just do something about this. I checked and it was legit. So, they they found us and they approached us. We kind of went through the process of due diligence with them. Super hard. I was super tired with a toddler and being pregnant. And yeah, it was insane. And then we got through all of the kind of due diligence, and we were kind of getting towards my due date. And I was like, what's going on? Like, is this going to happen? Is this not? Tanyka was preparing the pitch, making sure that
I
she
was
knew
terrified.
everything to do. I was just sitting at home with my legs crossed to make sure nothing would happen early. And then a week before my due date, a week before my C-section was booked, we pitched on the den. So I was 9 months pregnant.
My gosh. What?
Yeah.
Like 9 months pregnant, you're going into a very intense, stressful environment with a pitch. And my assumption is going to be you'd not pitched to investors before, or had you?
We had done some pitching before, and yeah, obviously it's not quite like that. Not only have you got the dragons, but you've then got like all these cameras, you've got like makeup, you've got like, it's, official. So it was intense. We did have like a really nice welfare team, and they were following Olivia around, making sure she had absolutely everything she needed. And overall, it was actually a really nice day, like a really enjoyable day. And Olivia absolutely smashed it. I think she's just telling people off on some of the panel. So yeah, she just was giving like mum energy, and like don't mess with the pregnant lady energy.
Like amazing. And I can't wait to see. So obviously I haven't seen the episode. None of us have seen the episode. We don't know like what the outcome was. So talk to us. How long was your pitch and what happened? Like, can you talk to us about what happened?
Yeah. So the pitch, I don't actually know how long it was. It felt quite quick, but I think it must have been like an hour and a half or 2 hours that you're in there. So you stand up, you do your pitch, and then it is like a long time of back and forth questions. And they do really like, even if they like your business, they do really like give you a hard time in terms of questions. And then we had Tuka Sullivan especially was not quite getting the concept and maybe suggested that we should start a magazine instead, and then started digging into yeah. So that was quite entertaining.
Well, I don't even know. I'm speechless. Start a magazine. What?
Yeah, I was like, I think that might have been done before. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, overall, very positive feedback. A lot of like debate about, our approach to it. Should we start a website first? Should we have gone straight for an app? And like, yeah, a lot of discussion about the marketing funnel and things like that. And actually really helpful and constructive feedback in general. We got 2 offers. I don't know if I should spoil it, but we accepted one, and the rest of them were actually, everyone was really nice overall and very like positive and supportive of the business. So it was a good outcome. It felt like a really good day.
So, question for you both. Obviously, the intent is you go into the Dragon's Den because you're wanting investment. Did you have did you know who was going to be there? And were you aiming for a particular dragon, or were you just like, it's just the investment? Like, what was going through your mind before going in there?
So I think we had a couple of ideas of how each of them could support us. I think we really wanted to speak to them and just see if they got it and see if they like resonated with the vibe, and they understood what we were trying to deliver. And I think the dragon we've got like absolutely gets it. And also like with the valuation piece, we went in with a valuation which we thought was super fair, like super fair. Like in the outside world, that's not what we pitch our business for. So we wanted to do that so we could talk about our business and really like get to know the dragons and get to know, what can you offer aside from money? Because money's super important, but we need support. We're first time founders, we need mentorship, we need contacts, we need, we need support. So I think we kind of identified what each of them could deliver. And I think all of them could have, most of them could have contributed in a positive way to our business. But the dragon that we got, I think it'll be out there now, but I think anyone can see that person is perfect for Cubbi.
I'm like so desperate to know who this dragon is. So it's funny, and full disclosure for those listening at home, we have the absolute pleasure of working with these guys. And I remember the opportunity coming in, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is pretty amazing. Like I think I felt like I understood it and I got it, but I think I only felt like that because I just took me back to times in my maternity leave and in my path that I was like, oh yeah, like I just remember this. But I'm intrigued because none of our team know who this dragon is. And are you able to tell us now who the dragon is?
I'll let you do the honours, Olivia.
Yeah. Okay, so the dragon that we've got is Susie Ma. So
Say that
Susie
again.
Ma, Susie Ma.
Oh my!
So Susie's a guest dragon, and we got 2 offers, as Tanyka said. We got an offer from Deborah Meaden and Susie Ma, and I love Deborah Meaden so much, and she's welcome to invest or get in touch, and we'll have a conversation again. But Susie Ma just got what we did. She had, at the time, her daughter was 6 months old. And I don't know if they're going to show it or not. She shed a tear during our pitch, and she just got it. She's a new mom. She understood what we were delivering. She didn't ask silly questions like, why don't you do a magazine or anything like that. She just got what we're doing. And she's the queen of community. She builds communities, and that's exactly what we're building. So she's the perfect dragon.
That same
Like,
person
okay.
also asked, sorry, if Olivia was married and should she be doing this while she's pregnant. So yeah.
Yeah.
And I hope that makes TV, because it is a conversation that needs to happen. I think we talk to a lot of female founders. We've tried fundraising ourselves, and we speak to a lot of people that are also going through that process. And it is just like a general, when we get like 2% of VC funding, it's just like lots of questions like that happen in a lot of rooms that stop women growing great businesses because of those kind of thought processes.
I don't know about you, and I find that people are scared to speak up and draw attention to that, which is it's infuriating and frustrating, right? Like, but nothing's going to change if that doesn't happen. And you're highlighting here and drawing attention to quite an important fact here of if it's only 2%. I didn't even think it was as high as 2%. I had it in my head that it was like under 1% of funding.
It could be. Yeah.
And it's like, that is absolutely wild. Like, women make over half the population. Like this, I think this particular product at this particular life stage, I don't think you could, my God.
It was so, like, I'm pleased that it happened, because it's just what we experience away from the cameras. When we're talking to investors, you get those comments that, like, I'm not upset about you asking me if I'm married. I can tell you the answer to that question is absolutely fine, but you would never ask a man that question, is the point. And it's like, why are you asking me? Particularly at our stage, look, we're a small business, we're starting up, and it's scary to kind of go out there and say these type of things, because it could potentially stop us from getting investment in future, maybe. But you know what? The business we're building is for mums and dads who understand this. And that's, we've built this business on authenticity. We've built this business on, being who we are. So I think, it's important to share this, not just for women, minorities as well. The statistics are even worse. Yeah.
It's like amazing. So you got 2 offers, but you've taken an offer, which is amazing. And then what? Like, what happens at that point when you take the offer? Like, so full transparency, we used to work with, I don't know if I can say this, but I'm going to say it, a team at Lloyds Bank who, interestingly, they left Lloyds Bank and they started up, it's a brand called Dock and Bay, who were also successful on Dragon's Den.
Yeah.
With, Andy, we used to work with him, and I think it's Andy and Ben, off the top of my head. But what happens when you get that funding? Because I feel like that's quite, oh my gosh. And also, you were 9 months pregnant, I might add.
Well, yeah. Susie was super, like, I think she voice noted us and like set up a WhatsApp group within the week of us coming off and like basically said to Olivia, okay, this is great. You know, the money's coming, like take the time and have your baby. And then
We
we
actually
like,
had a meeting with Susie the day before my C-section was booked, and she was like,
oh yeah,
"Are you sure you want?" But I was like, "Wait,
yeah,
let's chat. I want to talk. We need to talk."
yeah,
So yeah, Susie was so supportive. She sent me a lovely box of some Tropic goodies and some little books for the boys. So honestly, yeah,
yeah.
she just got it. Yeah, so that was
Yeah.
the first thing, get the baby out.
After Olivia had her baby, this is what she said. I said, oh, like, how are you feeling? How did it all go? She said, I feel like I could do a backflip. Like, she was just so ready to get that baby out.
Was it different for the second Olivia than the
Yeah. It was definitely I think being pregnant with a toddler is a different level of hard. Like, yeah, that was not fun at all. You know, you just want to sleep all day and then your toddler's just sort of slapping you around the face. And it's just, it was a nightmare. If anyone listening to this is pregnant with a toddler, I was scared of a toddler and a newborn, but that is light work in comparison to being pregnant with a toddler, for sure.
does get easier. I'm smiling because I was out of the young phase with my kids, and then I decided to have a third, like when my kids are, much older. I think,
Yeah.
no, I don't know if my hormones mask the memories of being pregnant with a toddler. I can vividly remember times where I was just like, I think I cried like in public several times. Like, just I felt very overwhelmed and just like, and it comes back to those moments of kindness, and I don't, anyone out there, whether or not you've got a child or not, whether you're a parent or not, you will always remember, like, if like when a child's having a meltdown, and if someone comes up to me, and I remember this one time someone came up to me and they were like, "You're doing an amazing job," and I felt like I was like losing at life, like I just wanted the world to swallow me up and be like, "This is just the most embarrassing situation I've ever been in." But to have that person, it will always stand out in my mind. And I think this kind of what this does, but with brands, right? Like, we hear you, we see you, we know at this moment in time, that free coffee to get you out of the house today, to give you that win is like an amazing thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
100%. And that's exactly what it's all about. 100%. A lot of people think that our app is about saving money on baby stuff. And yes, it is. Like, absolutely. Whatever we can do. I'm a discount queen. I love a bargain. Absolutely. But it's so much more than that. It's about helping new parents save money on a takeaway if they can't, like, they've been working all day and they've been looking after their children all day and they just can't think about cooking dinner, or they've got no food in the fridge. Things like that, just helping you get through that time so you can take your brain space away from worrying about that and just enjoy your baby and just enjoy that moment.
So you went from that offer, Dragon's Den, you had the baby, and then how long did you give yourself before you started like ramping up again for your next phase?
I say 4 weeks, but I think Tanyka says 2. I was on.
Yeah, not long enough. But I will say that Olivia has this, I don't know, sentiment where that she can't chill. Like with her first son, he was a nightmare. She wasn't sleeping, and 8 weeks in, she was like, let's start a business. She just, like, if you give her too much time, she's gonna do something. I think it's almost like an enjoyable like escape for her to do something like that than just not do anything. But I'm not sure it's the healthiest. So I was like, to her, you're not going to that meeting. I'm gonna do it. But yeah, it's hard to keep her down for long, to be honest.
But so you've done this, you've got the investment, you are now, I guess, working with a bigger agency. So you've roped in more expertise. And Tanyka, am I right in thinking you're doing this full time now? So like this is for, I think so.
Well, so Dragon's Den was like a really good milestone for us to be like, okay, we know this is going to be on TV at some point next year. This is our one moment to make this fly. or not. Like, if it doesn't work when you have that many eyes on you, it's not gonna work. So we need to make sure we make squeeze every single bit out of this moment that we can. So we knew with the investment we needed to invest in the app to make sure it was scalable. So that was a lot about the AI verification and making sure it could handle new users at the rate that we want and expect them to come. And then things like just a couple of like more operational things, like getting some good PR in place, a little brand refresh, and tightening up some of our other sort of ongoing work, our other website, not the login one, just to make sure that when that moment happened, we were really, really ready for it. And then part of that also included me leaving my full-time job to do Cubbi full-time, which is, as I go back to my original comment, I am very risk averse. It is like a terrifying thing to do. But I also have this gut feeling like you need to do this, otherwise you're going to regret it. So scary, but very exciting as well.
Because you said that you were both quite risk averse, actually, and you've actually done this in a really smart, well thought out way. So the journey you've been on, I mean, honestly, I'm not saying this lightly at all, but you built your own app. Like, that's a challenge in itself. And I know, Tanyka, you've got the scars for that because, and you carry these deeply. Then you went to freelancer and now you're with an agency. So you've been on a real journey with trying to, like, I guess, continuously improve the product and get it to a place that you're happy with. And I know, rumor has it, there is a backlog and there's lots of amazing future stuff that you've got your eyes on. My assumption is going to be that you've both learned an incredible amount going through this process, not only on the technical development side of things, but also just in terms of like getting a product out there and the business and the marketing around that.
Yeah, definitely.
So
and
I think one of the things I've learned is like, you know, before we started this, we said like, oh, starting a business is what other people do or they do it. But I've learned we can do, I know it sounds so cheesy, but you can do anything. If you're committed to it and you set your heart on it and you're persistent, you can do it. Like, you can absolutely do it. So I think there's learnings in terms of technical learnings and things like that. But the personal development on this process, I just keep saying to Tanyka, has just been insane. Like, no, I've just conquered the dragons. Like, I can do anything, absolutely anything.
Yeah.
Well, what about you, Tanyka? Like, what have you learned?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I would say same as Olivia. Like, I think I've always before this been in a corporate environment, and it is very much about like how you present in the office, how you present in meetings. Whereas now it's like a lot less politeness and a lot more like just going for it, which I don't know if you can reverse once you can do that. So I'm not sure I could ever sit back in like a super corporate office again. So that's definitely changed my career. And then I would say on the like product side, I think the way we've done it is right. Like we've gone slow, we've tested, we've always iterated and improved and grown. We know that the product that we're putting out in Dragon's Den is obviously much better than the one we had in February 2024. But it is still not where we want it to be. And we have like a million of more ideas that we want to implement, and goes way beyond discounts as well. Like, that's definitely just the start for us. And we want it to be like super smart and super personalized and like making product recommendations and things like that. So, yeah, even like it's a good opportunity for us, but we have to then use that opportunity of Dragon's Den to really drive forward even more, and make sure that we can kind of bring those users along with us and let them know this is not just it, this is just the start.
I think it's so important to have real visibility around this journey that you've been on, because I don't know, like I try and stay off a social media. Like, I do use LinkedIn, but I'm not on Instagram. Like, I try and limit that. But I think there's an expectation that this happens overnight and it just works and everything's amazing. And, you know, it doesn't. This takes years and a lot of blood and a lot of sweat and a lot of tears quite often. It's not an easy, linear process. Like, there's, you know, you'll take one step forward and two steps back sometimes, and that's okay. But you both, I think, kind of touched on something that I think you're both incredibly inspirational in terms of you haven't let perfection be the enemy here and get in the way. Like, you knew, like, you've created your own product. Tanyka, you developed an app. That is what you did. And I know, fine, you use tools to do that, but like, that is an incredible thing to do in itself. You recognized it wasn't perfect, but you still put something out. And to have the validation, to have that before like the national launch, if you like, before that, is an incredible like position to be in. And I think validating a product before significant investment is a really important and quite often the right route. Not always, but quite often the right route, because you know, we have people approach us all the time and they're like, oh, we want an app and it needs to do this, and they've got this really detailed like specification, and I'm like, oh, do you really need this? Is this the right thing? I don't you need this. And when you're really specific, and you're quite often, people don't really know what they're asking for, whereas you knew what you were asking for because you'd been on the journey yourselves and you'd really done the homework and the due diligence to get to where you are. So like, absolutely.
When we launched, I was like, this is something that, like, to me is a no-brainer, but I'm sure so many people with ideas think it's a no-brainer. So we just wanted to verify that and just see if people wanted it. And, you know, as I say, when we launched, we got that overwhelming feedback. And those people who've been with us since the start have seen us sort of building this car as we're driving it. And we do regular surveys. We contact, like, we've got some like people who, you know, as I say, offer us help, advice, and can I get involved? What can I do? And we take their feedback. We're building for them. I'm not just building something that I think they want. We're taking that feedback and we're using it. So it's scary because we're building in public. I'm not going to say failing in public because we're not going to fail, but it's scary.
Yeah.
But we want to build something that's right for the people we're building it for, and this is the only way to do it.
And it's out of interest now, like, obviously since like the Dragon's Den episode, like, have you felt that pressure increase? Like, what I can see Tanyka like nodding her head. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I feel like there is an immense amount of pressure when you take investment.
Yeah, I would say probably less from the investment, because I think our relationship with our dragon is so good and she does really understand where we are and what we're doing and where the process is. So I think it's less from the investment. It's more from that big moment where loads of people are going to be looking at our website and our app, and I'm sure going to have views on it and probably very high expectations, especially if you get good feedback from the dragons and you get this investment and you know, it's a while on from then you're expected to have reinvested that back in, which we have. But, you know, the money that we got doesn't go a huge way to, like, it's not going to revolutionize the game. And we're comparing ourselves to like Unidays or Blue Light Card, who have been around for 15 plus years, have hundreds of staff, and it is just me and Olivia. So, you know we have a lot of work to do to improve, and we just don't want people to feel, and this is probably just my anxieties coming out, I don't want people to feel disappointed, and I'm sure they're not, because they love the idea, but there is still work to do. And I don't think Olivia and I are like, you know, closing our eyes about that. We definitely have a lot of work to do next year.
Yeah, there's still work to do. I think me and Tanyka are the type of people, and this is probably why we keep pushing forward. We're never happy, ever. So we've got, I think when we did our plan, we were like, yeah, next year we'll have 5 brands on our platform. We now have 150 brands on our platform, and we're still not happy.
Yeah.
So we need more. We need more everything. We need that because we know our users need that. So yeah, that's a journey that we're on.
So you've obviously learned a lot, that's fine. But what about working together as sisters? How has that been, juggling like family and business? Has that been easy for you? Like, you guys have a great relationship, but like, has it been easy? Have you had any moments where you're like, this is hard, or has it been plain sailing for you guys?
It has not been plain sailing at all. We are really close, which I think makes working together very rewarding, and it makes it so successful. But that process of working together is not always easy. And I think you forget, like, as a sibling, you are completely different people at work, right? And I don't know that side of Olivia, and she doesn't know that side of me. And so we've had to learn that side of each other. And the thing that you have at work sometimes is this like very PC way of giving feedback, and like, you know, you know, being politeness around each other, which is sometimes frustrating, but it's also sometimes needed because like the brutal, unfiltered feedback is not that helpful all of the time, especially when you're 5 months into building an app that you don't know how to code. You know, it was a process. But I think we've learned that about each other and we definitely work much better now. But yeah, in the early days, there was like this figuring out of boundaries and how to work with each other. And we both work so differently.
Yeah. But I also think like, you know, we've got to a balance now.
Yeah.
Because I don't always need that shit anymore. Like I want like we've worked in corporate for over a decade, both of us, and we've never felt like we could bring our whole self to work until now. I think that's the culture I want to build. I don't want people to feel like, you know, I can't say this, I've got to tiptoe around. We want that culture. Like and it's important to build in a lean way, you know, for people to be able to say, that's wrong, or this is what I think. If you're tiptoeing around and letting the other person fall into a trap or a mistake, that's expensive. So, yeah.
And it's so important. So a few years ago, we did a real heavy push at Three-Sided Cube around rapid tender and making sure that people gave feedback quickly. They didn't dwell on it for weeks and weeks after there was an incident or something happened. But they did it in a really kind and respectful way, but you can't tiptoe around some stuff. Sometimes you have to be direct. And I remember there was like this shift at the time because everyone was so and I'm not saying it didn't happen. It happened in pockets in the agency, but now it's like we celebrate that, and it's like, and you're not trying to be difficult for the sake of being difficult, but it's important to have that in any kind of team, whether it's a business team, whether it's a sports team, whether it's, you know, I do it with my kids. Like
exactly.
And, you know, my daughters pick me up and say that I'm, you know, sometimes I can be too direct, and I'm like, well, but like I do this because I love you, and I'm trying to help you longer term. They don't realize it now, but hopefully in 20 odd years they'll come back and be like, Mum, you were right. Well, I don't know, but like, let's see. But I do think it's super important. And I think what you're talking about there is that rapid candor, like being able to have those honest conversations, but quickly. But I do, you know, if I think back, if it was my brother or whatever, I probably would have a few choice words. Probably not always or frame it in the right way. Like, it's good.
Yeah. I think the thing about me, as she said, at first it was really hard. But now, as we've been doing it, I know what I'm not good at. And actually, Tanika's good at those things that I'm really bad at. It's just perfect. I don't know who did this. Tanika is amazing at the things I can't do, and I'm really good at things that she can't do. So I think we've got to the point where we kind of defer to the other. Like, if she calls out something that's in her arena and I know that she's the expert at that, then I'll listen. But if she comes at me for something I know, like we can have issues. So that's kind of how we deal with it.
Like, talk to us about where Cubbi's heading next. Can you give us or share any details around kind of like what you expect in 2026? Oh my gosh, that sounds really far away, but it's really not.
The big number.
I'm saying that.
I think 2026 is going to be really exciting for us. Obviously, we are expecting Dragon's Den to go out earlier in the year, which I'm so relieved about, because I think if it was coming out later in the year, it would have been like one of those like a holding moment. So I'm just so glad that it's going out, and we just really need to use that momentum to drive us forward. So a lot of our reinvestment will be going back into making the platform as exciting, as engaging, as easy to use as possible. And then also focusing on as many brand partnerships as possible. So making sure that when our users log in, they have a great experience and they have every single brand that they would want to see on there. So those are our two big focuses. The users are coming and will come. So it's just about making sure that when they get there, there is everything they need there.
Hang on. Am I right in thinking there was a bit of a viral moment on TikTok fairly recently?
There was.
Yeah,
we've Olivia's face has been around TikTok a lot. Olivia always says I'm pimping her out because I make her do but it works.
But the audience, and you've obviously you know, the demand is there, and you've proven that concept. So I think it's focusing on that scale aspect now.
Yeah.
And I see that's what's in store for 2026 for you. And I think, you know, juggling the challenges and the joys that come with scale, because there's good and bad that come with that. But also, like, you talk about the brands. So you have 150 brands on the platform now. Like, how do you have a dream hit list, right, of brands that you want to work with? Like, how do you, like, I don't know, qualify those brands? Like, are there brands that you won't work with? I don't know. Like, talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we have 150 brands, and I'm so proud of the brands that we've got. Like, we just recently added a coffee shop, Boston Tea Party, which is giving new parents free coffee across the country, which is like my dream, because as I mentioned, that's where I had the idea. We've got, you know, Adidas, Tommy Tippy, Crocs, and this is literally why we're doing it. So I think the dream brands, as Tanyka said, we want to get to the point where new parents are like, I can get a Cubbi, I can save on that. Like, we don't want new parents to hesitate. If you need jeans, buy jeans, get them through Cubbi. Like, that's where we want to get to. I think in order to get there and really impact new parents, we want to get like a major retailer like an ASOS. We need a supermarket. We want a cinema. And what was the last one? There's 4. Do you remember what the last one was?
Coffee shop, which we got. I like it.
Those are kind of the key ones. But as Tanyka said, we're really focusing on broad. At the moment, we're focusing on national, widely recognizable brands that we know people shop at. Once we've got that foundation, we want to start dipping our toe into supporting smaller businesses, supporting local businesses. All of those things will come. But we need now, when we're starting, we need people to open our app and see stuff they know and love.
Yeah.
And then we can start introducing them to more stuff that they'll love as well.
So if anyone is listening to this at home and you are part of a relevant brand, or you know someone, please don't hesitate to reach out and let's try and make this magic happen, because there is, like, I mean, like I say, there's so many people that have babies every year. It's great for these brands to be part of that journey, the life adjustment that goes on at this stage in life. So reach out, let us know. What one piece of advice would you have to anyone at home right now that is thinking about that business idea and has been sitting on it for a while? Anything to share? And that question's to both of you guys.
Press the big
I've got
green
2.
button. Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Have fun. I'm glad you said one, because I'm going to say other. One is persistent. Don't stop. Like, I've emailed and contacted on LinkedIn thousands and thousands of brands. Well, maybe thousands. I don't know how many, but a lot of brands. And like, it's hard. It's not going to be like, we thought we're going to launch and this is just going to like pop off. It's not that. You have to keep going. You have to keep trying. You have to be annoying. You might have to be a bit cringy, but you have to just do it. And that separates the people who can or, will from the people who won't. So just keep going.
Tenacity really it really, really counts for a lot. And I think nothing's going to happen if you don't. So just try it.
Do it.
Just go for it. And I think, you have shown that you can be risk averse and still achieve like amazing success. And I know you're very ambitious, both of you, and you've got grand plans, but like where you're at now, like, that's not to be taken for granted. Like, you're doing amazingly well, and you've already secured Dragon's Den investment, which is like a massive, like a huge achievement. But the journey that you've been on, there's been quite a few milestones in that process, and it's wonderful to see how you have continuously improved at each of those milestones. It's not just that's it, done. Like, you haven't stopped. Tenacity, that drive has really, like, it's paying off, which is good, but there's still so much more to be done. I know, I could just get that vibe from you. It would be really good maybe to regroup in like 6 months to 12 months time, kind of how this journey has gone, like the next 12 months, what that looks like and what experiences you've had, because I feel like some of the challenges you've gone through today, they're going to evolve and like be somewhat different as you go through the next chapter. Like Congratulations, both of you. I'm sure many of our listeners are in absolute awe of what you've achieved so far. And speaking on behalf of 360 Cube, I'm really delighted that we get to work with you guys, but really excited over what the future holds and what's in store. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you,
Amazing.
Pat.
Thank you. Thank you, Pat.